read some of your articles on Medium, and thought this may be helpful for you. The meaning of life is to see the face of God. And let's see, 3,300 years ago, when the first man, the only man to ever see the face of God, described it, he described it as a bush that burned without burning. 2,000 or 1,300 years later, the Apostle Paul said, where it happened to others in the future, they'd be changed in the twinkling of an eye. Twinkling, I would describe having seen the face of God in 2018, instead of saying it was a bush that, or something burned without burning, or it twinkled. In 2018, with our technological understanding, it's described as having your vision pixelate, proving simulation theory. Were this to happen to you right now, it would be more than just your vision pixelating. Your entire perception as you look out in a static world, it's just you, your mind, and it's just you in there, in your head. For 90 seconds, you wouldn't be alone. God would prove that not only can He respond in your vision as it pixelates, but also in your mind and your body as every sense activates except your hearing. It'll come in two waves if you're worthy enough for Him to show you His face. You have to understand it's a very intimate thing to see, an intimate event to see His face, which is why no one has ever done this. And the only person who ever came close was 80 years old after years of who knows what. Fortunately, having seen His face last year and recording the experience as well as all the events leading up to and following the pixelation, I can explain how one can see God's face and live. Were you to see it right now, you would die. It would be too overwhelming. And the only thing that kept me alive was knowing that I had lost everything to prove God's existence. I told the truth, and my intentions, the reason I found myself in this situation in the first place was because I was trying to prove his existence in the name of love. So when when two waves of pixelation hit and you collapse to your knees, if you lose everything in a righteous manner, you'll know that He's not trying to hurt you. It's an act of love, not to scare you to death. So should you be fortunate enough to ever see the face of God, I commend you. And the only thing, how do I say this? What He'll be doing is giving a stamp of approval, His stamp of approval on your story, on the events that lead up to Him showing you His face. And once you go through that experience, you can go ahead and send me any of the video footage of all the events leading up to Him showing you His face, as you write your story, the story of this happening, of you losing everything in the name of proving His existence, and then Him showing you His face. No one will believe you, by the way, but I will, if you can convince me by proving the journey that you took. Once that happens, because it'll be a genuine journey powered by God, something that no screenwriter in Hollywood could write, no religious leader could concoct, no human being could ever arrange. It would just be reporting true events in your life leading up to this, being changed forever. It'll be a story told by God. You're just the reporter. And afterward, you'll understand that he's screening and monitoring every thought in your mind. All 80,000 on average a human has per day. There are 80,000 thoughts we have on average. He's screening every single one of them. And you'll find that because this experience will match those described in the first century AD in the book of Corinthians, and the 1300 BC in the first 5 books of the Bible known as the Torah. Um, uh, your story will be then added to the, not the Old Testament or the New Testament, but what we're calling the Millennial Testament. He is the God of Moses, of Abraham. His only direct testimony to the human species was given on Mount Sinai. The Ten Commandments, everything else was interpreted by man, which means it's subject to flaw. But those 10 Commandments, he's screening every thought you have based off those. You think something that breaks one of those 10 Commandments, he can use things in your surroundings or in your body to deliver some sort of pain, whether it be illness or a car accident or something like that. And if you avoid breaking any of those 10 Commandments in practice or thought, then no pain. You've achieved euphoria, full enlightenment. But it only comes through him, and you have to be worthy. So, anyway, there's no way to shortcut the process. You can't buy it, you can't borrow it, you can't steal it. You got to earn it. And once that happens, it doesn't. Your sort of desire for material goods, it drops. It's completely removed. You have really no earthly desires. You want to eat and things like that, but you don't need to buy a Ferrari. Your carbon footprint goes. And what this represents is the perfect timing for the introduction of this system into our global community at a time when we need carbon emissions to fall rapidly. And I guess really the only other thing is when you lose everything, then you say to yourself, well, then what do I do to rebuild my life? And the answer is next July 20th, 2020, we're going to a global moneyless system where, because no one's really going to want anything anyway. They just want to tell stories powered by God, which is the meaning of life. Not religion, but source code, the one true God. He's a storyteller. And when you see his face, your first instinct is going to be, I want to tell the whole world, this is the meaning of life and blah, blah. No. Our job as humans is to just tell his stories. That's it. Give him glory. And he'll take you to your euphoria, a place that you have never dreamed possible. You don't even know what you want, technically, John, because you can't see in the future and he can. And you'll know this because you'll know that he exists. If anyone else is in the room with you when it happens, they're going to think you're insane. But not me, because I've gone through it. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Nice talking to you. Bye.